Welcome back, my dear friends. Welcome back to ever so amazing, sexy Cossacks Back to War, where I'm playing one of the greatest games, real-time strategy games to me of all time. My #1 real-time strategy game. It's a, well, Age of Empire-like game, even though really comparing the two are like day and night. But still, it's of course this beautiful Cossacks game made by GSC, of course. Guys are probably known mostly because of the Stalker games and not Cossacks, American Conquest, etc. But still, to me this is the best freaking game, to me at least. It is a game that came out in 2001, and 2001 was one of the greatest years in PC gaming history, because we had so many beautiful PC titles. It's ridiculous. I mean, you had Return to Castle, Wolfenstein, Commandos, expansion, if I'm not mistaken, Star Wars Galactic Battlegrounds. You had Max Payne, for fuck's sake, Pt.1. Like, there's so many amazing games that came out, of course this one included, in 2001. Empire Earth. There's so many beautiful games that came out in 2001, and this is, to me, really an amazing game. So Cossacks 1, it's Cossacks 2, Cossacks 3, American Conquest are the games that you should immediately buy and play yourselves. So this is a Back to War, though. The Cossacks Back to War added their own amount of units, new factions, or nations that is, and there are like 16 or more than 16, almost 20 nations, I think, that you can play with, which is ridiculously amazing. And with the DLC expansion, which you will find in Back to War Steam page, you can actually get all the campaigns played in the Back to War balance. So there is that. Though I have to warn that the Russian campaign, which is the window to Europe, is the 5th and the final European Wars campaign. And in that campaign, there is a bug that you can't continue in for Fortress whatever, right? You start the mission, the game crashes immediately, sadly. So I'm guessing in European Wars it just continues nicely, but with the Back to War, this is at the moment the only thing that I've found problem with. So there is that. But we will not be playing as the Russians. We'll be playing the expansion, well, the missions from the Art of War, campaigns from Art of War. But I'm just gonna sell all it's on Back to War, as nobody actually plays Art of War. But nonetheless, I think at least that these campaigns came with the Art of War. They're much more detailed than the previous 5 campaigns from the original game, and by that I mean the level design and everything else is much more intricate than the original campaigns, which is amazing and way more harder than the original campaigns. And mind you, I did the original campaigns, that is the Caribbean Pirates. I even did a tutorial when I first started the beautiful, sexy Cossacks. So I did Caribbean Pirates in the original European Wars, finished that one. War for Independence was the Ukrainian campaign that I did for Back to War. And of course, Serving the Colonel was one I wanted to do for Back to War again, but stopped way before even starting the damn thing. Yes, I did stop, but I did not actually record these sessions, or I did delete videos for it or whatever, but nonetheless. So Window of Europe was the last one. That's 4 actual campaigns, right? So there are 4, including the tutorial 5, but there. So anywho, we're gonna be doing a one that I actually finished. I think it's Window to Europe, if I'm not mistaken. No, sorry, that's the Russians. Encircled by Fire. I think this is the one I finished recently. Yes, it is. This is a Saxony campaign, and that's exactly the one we'll be doing. It has this amount of missions, so 5 missions in total for it. They are very much Southern Strike-ish, and of course, Southern Strike. Amazing game, a must for any World War II gamer out there. So most of these missions are the missions where you don't really build anything. You know, you're mostly, this is your group, fight, survive, rape, pillage, and burn, whatever, right? So there, that is that. So an affluent country, its treasury is filled with gold, satiate but and content civilians, cheery merchants and industrious peasants. What more could be required to make the ideal of German life complete? Or ideal? Whatever. Perhaps a brave officer and a mighty army, for it will not be long before hostile soldiers appear along the borders. The enemies are impatient to treat themselves to the fruits of other people's labor, plunder and ruin their successful neighbors. If you seek peace, you had better prepare for war, and preferably wage it on somebody else's territory. So we start with the Liberation Campaign. Swedish troops are crossing the border more and more frequently. They are raiding small towns and villages, plundering and killing civilians. It's time we put an end to this mayhem. The Military Council has decided to send you overseas. This will be the first baptism of fire for you. So, for comparing it again to the original European Wars, the European Wars does not, nor the campaigns themselves that are integrated with the DLC, do not actually have a difficulty setting. So this is where they started really going up the ante, because games after Cossacks have a difficulty setting that make the games so freaking hard. That is the games. You even have the impossible difficulty in American Conquest or Cossacks 3. Masterpieces of the games. I'm doing those at certain points, hopefully. So very hard. We'll continue with that, and hopefully we'll be enjoying it also. Again, I'm doing these mostly because I finished them on this difficulty. So it's much easier for me to integrate myself into certain things and talk about certain things and just have fun without being forced to think, oh, what might happen next? I know what's gonna happen most of the time if I actually remember, but still. Swedish troops have captured some of the citizens, are detaining them in a fort to the northwest. Soon Swedish ferries will embark and take them far away to be sold as slaves. You are to hire troops in the settlements nearby and try to free the peasants. And also, I adore this. The entire menu in the UI feels so perfect. I mean, the game is very, very personal in terms of the look and everything. The graphics themselves are amazing, of course. Now, if you at the beginning of the game, you are immediately on the fastest speed. You control D, and the game goes into the normal mode. You have the slow and the fast mode in the options section. For some reason, it always goes into the fast mode for Cossacks 1. So Control D will regulate that. Of course, you can check in the options themselves the exact amount you want this game to go fast. You can be very fast, like ridiculously fast, or ridiculously slow. That will of course impact you moving the camera and all that. That is the panning of it. Let's move in. We see an officer. We see beautiful structures. Sir, I have knowledge of your campaign and have prepared a detachment for you. Take it and return victorious. And so we shall. Now, of course, we have a rider. This is a regular unit that you will be able to recruit. In this case, in this campaign, you are represented as a unit. That is, of course, if he dies, the mission is failed. So, watch out, so to speak. Watch out. The game does have autosave. So it will autosave from time to time, if I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken, but I think I'm not mistaken. I'm not mistaken. There is that. So you can see the actual stuff about this unit. If you press a U, key U, you can actually see the price for building a unit, the time that needs to be built, and of course the cost. Build units to gain points. You losing a unit means twice as many points are deducted from your score. Your opponent gains 3 times as many points. Of course, this is just for if, I don't know, really for multiplayer or something purposes, but other than that, You can see, of course, that's the general. You have the description, which of course tells you exact description about this specific unit. Not a huge load like in the American Conquest, but enough to be honest. It's very simple, but it's there. Heavy cavalryman armed with a sword. Wears armor that protects him well against bullets and splinters. Effective against infantry and cavalry. Very amazing unit in general. So this is the basic of that unit, 350 health points, 12 damage, and of course you can see the defenses against certain things. Against the swords, arrows only 1, sword 6, 1 against pikes, 3 against muskets, 7 against cannonballs, and 200 protection against the cannonball, which splintered that thingy. How should I say? They go like shotguns. How the fuck? I don't know the thing it's called exactly. But nonetheless, you can also see the unit upgrades and where they can be provided. And you can see from 12, it goes up +1 on the second, +3, +5, +1, +1, +1 under the last one, which is the 7th upgrade. Which is again really cool. Again, I have the shield upgrades and of course the attack upgrades. So that's all about that unit. So let's U that out. The thing I really adore about Cossacks is just the look of it. You can see yourselves that we have a beautiful amount of resources, and the game utilizes resources very well in terms that it is almost a time limit for certain missions like these. You have this amount of food. As you can see, they're slowly trickling down because of the units you have. Each unit eats that amount of food to be upkept constantly. The moment the food goes down, your units start dying from hunger. So it's the same thing as for iron and coal. Iron and coal provides you ability to actually utilize musketeers, for they utilize iron and coal in a great amount. Gold is much necessary for towers to be utilized, or for cannons to even be built, or even be utilized by you. Even if you had all the iron and coal in the war, without the gold, the cannons would not be opening fire. So there is that. Of course, we have the wood and stone. Similar thing, again, without stone and wood, usually your gates and walls would deteriorate over time, if I'm not mistaken. But I could be wrong about that one, to be honest, as I'm not the one to build a lot of walls in any capacity. But there is that option nonetheless. Let's move up close to the next gentleman in front of us. Sir, rumor has it that you are in need of my cavalry, but I will not leave it to you for nothing. It will cost you 3,000 in gold. Now you have options, of course, as it is being more like a role-playing element of sorts, and also does take a toll down the line during the mission, which I will be showing, if you do give gold or not. You greed will kill you. Very well, take 3,000 gold and give us your horsemen. I will not bargain with a person who is indifferent towards the fate of his people. You are a disgrace to your uniform. I will return and make you understand the meaning of honor. Now get out of my way. And this is the one we will be going with, because giving that amount of money, we have 14,000, is not a good thing. Though these units are beautiful units, strong units, but it will not be the utilizing of that unit that will help us in this mission. The regular unit, which is a tier 1 unit, if you will, call it like that, tier list, though I'm not really familiar with the multiplayer terms, so to speak. These regular pikemen, which are a casual, samey unit for many of the nations. You can see, of course, the description. Infantryman armed with a long pike. His armor protects him well against bullets and grape shots. And that's the thing that I wanted to say, the grape shots. That 255 against grape shots. I think that's the right grape shots? Maybe. But nonetheless, 5 against grape shot muskets or what? Maybe it's not. I don't know. Okay, I'm thinking I know, but I don't know. Effective in combat formation against cav. They're always really much useful. I mean, they are the unit you will be spamming a lot in most missions, if you can, or of course in skirmish or multiplayer or whatever. They are the unit that will hold the line against everything. And you can see 95 health points, only 8 damage. Right? 2 against swords defense, 1 against arrows, 2 against the pikes, 7 against cannonballs, 5 against the muskets, 255 against up-close cannons, which will open fire if your units are too close to it and killing a bunch of soldiers in one shot. Really beautiful stuff. Really beautiful stuff. So moving down the line, thank you. You see there's the save. There's the save. Sir, I have had word of your noble campaign. But I cannot give you my people and leave the village defenseless. If you could dispel the gang camping, in the west, we could reach an agreement. Now there is a little bit of a quest. We need these soldiers. There should be the musketeers. No, they're not musketeers. They are the dudes on the horses with the muskets, with the big long rifles, that is. And we need these beautiful people. But the way we'll be doing this is like this. We'll hold there, press S, which is hold ground. You can see some stances. The formations are only available when you actually have a commander, like him, and of course a drummer, and a specific amount of soldiers. 36 is the minimum amount to have to make a formation, proper formation. Formations give you massive bonuses. They tend to be a little bit buggy when you go into the tight points on the map. So yeah, but still beyond that, they give you a nice general defense, which as you can see here, 0 at the moment. In formation, they give you nice amount of defense, +2 or +3. So it helps on the attack, that is, and give you a defense bonus. It's a beautiful thing. So what we'll be doing here is luring the enemy. This is one of the great things about Cossacks 1, that is, I mean, the thing that you can be utilized by you in many ways. Slowly luring out these beautiful Turkish light infantrymen. They're only 55, have no armor whatsoever, but you can make them, well, in a huge chunk. You really could make them in like a massive chunk. They'll go and take one of the peasantry. We can easily actually kill them, but I will not risk the health points of my main character. So what I'm gonna do is, well, I'll kill this peasantry that succeeded in actually being taken over by the enemy, which is the thing again about this game, is that you can easily lose civilians because, of course, because the game allows you to capture enemy peasantry and utilize them to build your own forces. They're building that is specific buildings. Well, basically build the entire army, if you will. You can see the fighting between the civilian that is up close to one of the their own infantry, well, cavalry at this point. When you have your own military unit near the peasantry, they cannot be captured and they will fight to the death. Now there are specific nations that cannot be captured, the peasantry that cannot be captured is the Ukrainians. They cannot be captured whatsoever, so they fight to the death immediately. Or Scotland in Cossacks 3 also, that cannot be captured, that is the peasantry. They fight to the death also. Otherwise everybody else can easily be captured by them, well, by anyone, that is, as long as they are enemy to the state. And that way, again, you can create a huge amount of buildings, barracks, and soldiers as much as you want. And again, one of the more beautiful things about this game, which additionally you can capture enemy cannons, and well, that's about. Well, there are specific buildings that you cannot capture. You can capture enemy buildings, mills, windmills, or whatever, town halls, etc. But there are certain things like barracks you cannot capture, diplomatic center you cannot capture, stables you cannot capture, artillery depots you can actually capture. So in general, you can capture many things and utilize them for your own stuff, to make your own armies, etc. from those buildings themselves. Like, it's a beautiful thing. I love that. That's one of the details that they adore about Cossacks, as it reminds me of Sudden Strike. I'm a massive fan of Sudden Strike because you can actually capture enemy stuff, kill enemy drivers within the vehicles. That mostly came into the Sudden Strike too, but still. And I love that addition. I adore that. Not many games, actually, no other game has that. I think most games tend to be like that. You have the conversion, which you have a conversion for Age of Empires games or Star Wars Galactic Battlegrounds, which is the best, and I do mean the best Age of Empires game to me. It has a huge chunk of different type of looking units, even though they do all the same. There's a small difference, but all of the civilizations there actually have specific looking structures to the race, or, you know, well, civilization, race, whatever, and units, which is amazing. And also done by the Ensemble Studio, which is the same studio that did the Age of Empires games, Age of Mythology, and etc. So again, one of more games that I will be doing some videos for. I did before as a Trade Federation, did not finish that campaign, but recently I've been playing and found a few things that I will be talking about, but that's for Star Wars Galactic Battlegrounds. You can see, of course, there is a pikeman, Saxony pikemen, trying to hold their own. They can actually defend and shoot across the wooden walls. Now, if you had the stone walls, that cannot actually happen. Let's utilize our main character and kill these one by one. Actually, this is gonna be easier because they're only 55 health. But still, more of them. We see already damage and 276 in terms of hit points. We have these bastards over here. This is the way. This is the way. Well, so I'm not gonna waste because we might be needing them for certain things down the line. The reality, not that much, but still. It's one of the things that I like to keep my forces alive if the game really forces me to have like a small amount of troops. I want to keep those troops alive for as long as possible. And, you know, allow my hero to have fun. They still do nice damage. The sad thing about we actually captured the Saxony peasantry. As you can see yourselves here, it was captured by them, by the Turkish light infantry, and now we have them. We can recapture it, but sadly, as we do not have the wood or anything, or a storehouse where we can move that wood, we cannot build. So, like, we cannot mine the stone and all that crap. But still, awesome stuff nonetheless. He is there, we will kill him. We have no need for him. But still, it's one of the, again, of the things that I adore about Cossacks. No other game does that. Again, the conversion, yes, there is in Age of Empires, but it's not the thing that I actually enjoy, because I never liked you. It's to me, it's the most annoying thing about Age of Empires is the way you have to utilize the priests to convert enemy stuff. And that is the enemy units. I don't like it. I mean, at the moment I hear that damn sound of them converting something, I get angry as fuck, and it's annoying as hell to me. So again, we're just gonna lure this group, and we're gonna be moving a little bit more of our infantry. We're gonna have a huge fights against the EVIL Swedes as the time passes. This is not the longest mission. By looking at the massiveness of this map, it seems like it could be. It actually is not, though again, it could be, but it's not. But it's much more detailed, as I previously said, compared to original vanilla of Cossacks European Wars. These missions are much more tight. You can see much more detail. You can see all the beautiful details the map editor can actually do. And yes, you do actually have map editor, which really help. You know, it's a little bit awkward to utilize, but it's actually quite an amazing editor nonetheless. I mean, you can make all this easy and with a huge chunk of troops. This is one of those games that allows you to have over 5,000 units on the battlefield, and with the Cossacks 3 they expanded that on 15,000 or more on the battlefield, people. Like, that's a massive amount of troops, including, of course, the civilians and all the other stuff. So you're not really hard-coded like in most games that you have to have the specific amount of units, and that's it. I like that. I really adore that. It's one of those things, again, that separates Cossacks and what GSC made with this game. This game is a masterpiece. This game is like, it's the game. It's one of those things that you just do not... Wait, there is one more peasantry captured by the Turkish bastards. Let's delete you. Thank you very much. So you do not get captured again. And what's left is a few more units over here. And with that, we could actually utilize, let's exactly see. Now, also, another thing that I really love is that the sight range, as you can see, it's a living fog of war, as I like to call it. We'll lure all of them. Come on, all of you. Excellent. With luring of them all, this is going to be much easier for us to just take care. They're going to aggro you across the entire battlefield, by the way. Compared to Cossacks 3, where they changed that finally, and you cannot really do this. But nonetheless, where I was... yes, the view range. It's a living... adore this fog of war. It's a living fog of war. I love that. It feels alive as you move it. And above all, officers and drummers have the biggest view range. So you have to have them if you want to scout proper. So they have the biggest view range of all units. Which is understandable, right? Officer is an officer. A drummer, though, not really an expected thing, but it makes a drummer much more useful than just a formation building unit. Which to me, that just is cool. It's like that the unit, it can fight for a while before it dies on the battlefield, and it gets usually shot first. But you can upgrade the armor and the attack values on the commander and, of course, on the drummer. So, again, awesome stuff. So we have 21 of our pikemen. I will not dare attack them, but you know what? Let's have fun. Move attack command, very important in this game. The enemy could hide. If you press tilde key, which is that key near number 1, you can actually see certain things. You can see the health pool of your units, while hopefully we not lose a lot of men here. And you can see the health pool of the unit, and the orange bar or the red bar beneath is the actual reload time for the musket to open fire. And with this, I think we have cleared the last remaining Turkish units, probably. Let's go back into the position, people. So the Cossacks series, Cossacks 1, 2, and 3, keep the same thing and same way of thinking about how to approach the levels and, well, not really the levels, sorry, Cossacks 2 is very much different than Cossacks 1, but the way they approach the gameplay but still keeps that freshness. Because this types of thing where you have upkeep for everything, you have way of capturing enemy equipment and utilizing them for your own gain, be it the building civilians or artillery. It's just amazing feel when you do that. You feel powerful. And no other real-time strategy does that for me compared to... And Cossack has this atmosphere, you can see in the look and everything. The music, of course, magnificent. And it has that atmosphere that only few games I can say that might have, especially real-time strategy games that actually have. Tiberian Sun, Command and Conquer, actually has one of the best atmospheres of the post-apocalyptic feel to it, this alien world, so to speak. I love it. And this is another game that I can say that it just has that beautiful atmosphere, the graphic, the shyness of it, the colorfulness of it. It's magnificent. So you have destroyed the camp of brigands. With this I can approach the commander and gain the rest of my forces that I desperately need, because the attack here we will be needing a lot of forces. Hopefully we have not wasted too much of a time, because usually you have a time limit on certain events, so we do not lose the peasantry over here. Hopefully, we shall see. You have freed our village from the bandits. I am grateful to you. My garrison is at your disposal. Thank you very much. Excellent. Now we have more troops. And specifically these beautiful dragoons of the 17th century. Cavalrymen armed with a musket suitable for long-range fire will not shoot if the enemy is too close. Long range of fire, low rate of fire, takes a long time to create. But With this unit, I can show off another thing that I'm really loving about this, is the utilizing of sudden strikiness. You can take one unit and slowly from the distance wipe out enemy musketeers. And again, one of those things that I really love is when the mission design is about utilizing small forces when you can have 15,000 men, for instance, right? When a game that gives you that kind of a ability, it's amazing to see it how it does, how it fares with smaller amount of units. Some games are just not manageable with having 3 guys, 4 guys, and that's it. And when in general it was built to have massive armies. I love that the Cossacks actually succeeds in that. And up here up front we have a new weapon of destruction. Speak, who is the leader among you. We want to sell him this gun for 5,000 in gold. Of course, we have excellent. This multi-barreled cannon is just what we need. It's not. What 5,000 pieces of gold? This piece of iron isn't worth a penny. Take it and take to your heels while you still can. Now you will give this gun for free. Man, seize them! But we will not seize them or we care about them. It's not needed. They have musketeers, pikemen, and of course that multi-barreled cannon. That multi-barrel cannon can do massive damage, but it's just not something I care for at the moment. So, what 5,000 pieces of gold? No. Hell no. We will not care about it. That unit is an amazing unit, but you dare not put your own units in front of it. It will wipe out. There is actual friendly fire, by the way, when it comes to cannons and multi-barreled guns. It's really not something to joke about, because if you position, for instance, some soldiers beneath a tower and it opens fire, it might actually damage your troops beneath it. The splash, so to speak, just kills most of units beneath it. It's something like, it's a friendly fire that I love. Again, it's again a thing that you do not expect, but it's there. Nonetheless, I will be ending my video here because in the next part it will be the end of the level. I wish you the very best. Next time, more love, more drugs, and as always, more Cossacks Back to War with Saxony no less. I wish you the very best in life.